Hey guys, this is SF and welcome to Random Talk Sundays. This week it is going to be Pumpkina and basically nothing much to farm in JP. Well, except for these guys. I already finished Cat Nyan because they're up relatively early. Relatively frequently, not early. It only took 2 sessions for Cats, and this is my first session of Pumpkina. Probably ended off in day 1, but this is a really long dungeon, so I'm not even sure. I'm probably like in the 30s or 40s right now, and this is the last half hour of the dungeon, so drops were relatively low, and it took a long time as well. So I might need more than 2 sessions to finish, but we will see. But I guess the biggest news right now for a lot of my viewers is the anniversary of NA Monster Strike. So they're gonna be bringing Cybell, which is the 2nd anniversary monster in JP, so why not bring it to NA as well. So in terms of the dungeon, for me it was relatively easy. I'll say relatively, and it's not really because I had like really OP monsters back then. Well, I guess OP as in like I got a Zangfei and a Pancake, but like, you know, it wasn't like that super OP at the time. People were like running speakers and stuff like that, and it was before Gabriel or Royce even came into JP. But that was 1 year ago actually, and that was a lot of memories. That was a lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened during that 1 year. Of course, Lucy came during that year. I started really farming for max luck around that time. I started around during the Lupin collaboration, which is around October, and then Cybell was up in October, so I was like really into like max lucking because I actually found a purpose, and that was when like max luck bonuses came in as well. So, and I wanted Hakua. Speaking of Hakua, I finally beat Hakua for the first time. I'm not joking, I'm not lying. Like, I have never beaten Hakua at the dungeon, ever. I have gone Hakua through like max luck bonuses and stuff like that, but like I never beaten the actual dungeon, and I finally beat it while I was farming Cat Nyan. And my team was Hikari Genji, and then it was Udi, and I forgot my 3rd monster, but my friend was a Roma, and I was happy. Now I have actually beaten every single dungeon in the game. Well, every single like important dungeon. Like I haven't beaten like those those exclusive ultra dungeons, like, you know, like with like Oregon, like the movie ticket Oregon, stuff like that. But like I beat every single impossible, extreme, insidious, colossal. So that was a very big day. So yay for me. Of course I won't be farming for Hakua. I never do. That's why I never beat it, because I never brought a good team for Hakua whenever I farming for my max lux. And then I did kind of get off track, but like Cybell, yeah. So in terms of the dungeon, the only hard part about the dungeon is the magic circles, and for people who are wondering, I don't think Jekyll and Hyde will be that great in it, because there are mines and warps and stuff like that, and you can work around with magic circles with your mechanics. Of course, it is relatively mechanically it's really hard because it requires a lot of skills. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of skills, just like you need to know how vertical and how horizontal you go, and then I guess positioning wise you might want to you might need some positioning skills there. But like pre-planning in terms of shots, and then pre-plan, and then like predicting where your monster is gonna end up is probably one of the main skills you really need to use for Cybell. Because if you don't step on the right amount of magic circles, then of course you'll still be a chick, and then it's gonna be really bad for you. But as Cybell, and I guess the other hard part is that unlike Herald, where you kind of like bump your monsters for bump combos and stuff like that, Cybell doesn't really want you to do that. So what that means is like sometimes you do shots where you just don't do any damage, and I don't think that's really what the mindset of players nowadays are. Like, of course, players now, you just want to hit bump combos and deal the most damage as you can. But like for like the next few rounds of shots, if you actually bump into your allies, you might be out of position. You might turn into a check ball trying to bump into those guys, and then for future stages, it's just really bad. So sometimes, like even just directly going up and down at the boss, like not hitting allies and stuff like that for damage is probably the best shot for people. And of course, not everybody will have the mindset of actually doing that, because everybody thinks that bump combos are OP and stuff like that. Well, of course they are OP, but like it's not really needed in Cybell, because it's all about positioning and shot management. And well, there we go. But Cybell is a monster, I guess, like with Reaper Jack, Reaper Jack, you don't see much use, like worth in Cybell, because Cybell is relatively harder to get than Reaper Jack. I still like Cybell more than Reaper Jack, just because of the bump combo. Like horizontal laser is fine and dandy, but like it's not that strong. Of course, there's laser barriers that can block those horizontal laser, and of course you have to position for those horizontal lasers. And of course, people don't really position for bump combos anymore. Rip one-way lasers, rip one-way lasers, and even the damage is not that great. Like it's like a vertical laser, but a little bit more powerful. Like the only reason it's more powerful is because the spacing of the map, because vertical you have more space, so that of course it does less damage because you have more room to move around. And then horizontal has less space, so that's why it's bigger damage. And let's see the strike shot for Kushinada Zero. Not Kushinada Zero. I'm getting ahead of myself, but Kushinada. But Kushinada, not that bad. It did position Cybell for under. But speaking of Kushinada Zero, Kushinada Zero did come. Wow, really? That's sad. But Kushinada Zero did come, and then it wasn't that hard per se for people. Of course, with Lindsay in the mix, it's really easy. And I guess, like, I don't know, like it's going to be relatively easy for people to get. I've seen a lot of my friends already got it, and some people in line groups can't really take other impossibles, like just say like Izanami Zero. They were able to get Kushinada just because Lindsay is just that strong in that dungeon. Like that's why Lindsay was made, and he's doing his job very well, unlike some other monsters that were made and then they get dropped off. Like it's been like 9 months since Kushinada Zero came, and Lindsay is still #1. Even with all the new monsters coming out and stuff like that, Lindsay is still #1 for that dungeon, and probably will never get replaced, because it's kind of impossible to make a better monster than what he actually does in that dungeon. But of course, other monsters is World's Monster Striker. The Ascended version is really strong. I found Eternity surprisingly strong. Of course, she's really good because you can one-shot the obstructors, not the Magatamas, but like the obstructors themselves, and you can use her strike shot on the Magatamas to actually deal damage to Kushinada, because they're linked, and it deals more damage because of the Slayer. But some off picks I kind of wanted to try, but I kind of failed, is Liu Bei, the evolve form. Why? Because no warp. He's a no warp. He's a pierce monster, so it kind of fits the thing. And then of course the status recovery. It recovers the bump combo lock from the Shell Golfs or Kushinada Zero. And I tried it for like an hour and failed miserably. And one reason is that of course he doesn't really do any damage. His strike shot is not bad, but like you have to get lucky with the weak spots. And of course he cannot one-shot the obstructors. So that's a no. That's not a really good. That's why he's not a really good pick. And of course the main use for him is of course the status recovery. Sometimes the bump combo lock doesn't hit the doesn't activate when it hits my allies, so they don't get bump combo lock. So when it's his turn, then all three of my guys are already like free from the bump combo lock. So that's kind of useless as well. That's why it kind of failed a bit. Well, it didn't fail because the status recovery didn't do its job. It's just that he's not a very strong monster once you take out the status recovery part from his kit, because there's really no use for it. But you've probably seen the clear video. I am going to try some other videos during the weekend to add some flavor to Kushinada Zero. And surprisingly, I haven't done more than one Kushinada Zero video in JP, so kind of make up for the lack of it and probably do some other quirky parties. And it was just me playing bad, of course, for the most part. Next is Cybell, and Robin Hood's gonna get owned, so stay away from him. 10k, not bad. And it was mini boss, but you know. But Kushinada Zero as a monster, not bad. Very good for Yamato Takeru for people who can't beat Yamato Takeru yet. She is a power type, so people might find her kind of bad, but the strike shot is very, very strong. And the speed up for that strike shot is actually like normal monster stats, like very, very fast. Like it's like Susano's speed, basically, when it's Susano's strike shot speed. So it's really, really fast, and you can get a lot of damage if you can position well for it. But I did do a Monster of the Week video for her, so that's why there's no Monster of the Week video for her. And I also did a Monster of the Week video for who'd you call it? Mundus when he came out in JP, so he's off the list for next week. So I'm not sure about next week in terms of monsters. Probably because this week I did Teeny, maybe I do Lucifer, but Monster of the Week Impossible Monday is going to feature Lucifer for tomorrow, so I might stay off of it, but we will see which one, because there's a lot of monsters I haven't done. Like they pump out a lot of stuff in JP, and it's really hard to like, I guess, find like a Monster of the Week, like to do all these monsters on a daily basis, and of course it will never fit through Monster of the Week because there's just a lot of monsters, and of course lots of people wants to know about everything, all the new monsters and all this stuff. But you know, I don't have a ton of time. Like from time to time I even stop like think of not doing this part, like doing Sundays, Random Talk Sundays, because it just takes a long time to actually film it. 30 minutes is a lot of my time, just saying. Of course I'm doing farming at the same time, so I'm not really wasting my time. I'm not farming for nothing, basically. But you know, like I want to actually like stress relief, I guess, for the most part. I don't want to have to think a lot and waste a lot of effort in more effort than what I actually do, because I know people want to listen to stuff I have in mind, but you know, I still have to prepare, and that takes time as well. Like what I'm going to talk about, remembering everything, what I want to talk about. So you know, like outside this video I do like prep work as well. And it's not just me like talking willy-nilly for the most part. But in terms of anime, that's pretty much it. Kushinada Zero Cybell is coming up in the near, well, Kushinada Zero is up, and then Cybell is coming up very, very soon. On Monday, actually on Monday, tomorrow, because Sunday is Halloween. And Sunday, I'm going to be on Halloween duty. So basically, I'll be handing out candy to kids that's in the front door. So, you know, I guess that's cool, but you know, and of course I'm not going out because I'm on Halloween duty, as my parents said, because my parents sleep really, really early and stuff like that. But anyways, JP, new series coming up, Jewel Academy number 2. So it's been about a year since the first one came. So the first one was Ruby, Diamond, and what's the other guy's name? Ruby, Diamond, not Sapphire. Sapphire is the water one. Infamous is the dark one. Wood. What's the wood? Emerald. Emerald. Totally forgot about Emerald. But Emerald's a very strong monster. Very good for tower floors. But like, new one is Lapis. Blue one's Lapis. Red one is Coral. And then light is Pearl. I guess Pearl is probably the prize of the Hatcher. Just because Blast type, the evolved form is Blast type, Meteor Destruction, which is over 200k per meteor. And then of course the bump combo times 2. So if you hit her twice, then you get 2 meteors. And with that damage, you can probably one-shot a mob. And she'll be really, really good for skill me, because one meteor can basically kill a mob in that dungeon. Like, sometimes I bring Beelzebub, the Ascended version, and he has a Meteor Destruction sub bump combo, which is only around 100, like a low ends of 100,000, and that bump combo can one-shot that the mobs there. So it's going to be crazy. But of course the Insidious monster, the Biologica, is going to be what people are going for, because he is going to be a very good monster for Yomi. A very good max luck monster for Yomi. So people might want to max luck that as well. I think he has Demon Slayer and No Warp for one form. And then so he slays Eden. And then basically add a No Warp and a Pierce monster as well. So basically fits everything. And bump combo's not bad either. I think it's Spread Piercer XL3. So it's going to be relatively good. Just hope that the Insidious is not that bad. Of course, Kyoto Genji was relatively easy for people because it was just basically higher numbers and higher HP. So it's not that bad if you just really ram it. It will be hard if you had like 3, 4 max luck monsters. That's not Cybell. That's not Ascended Cybell, but like you know. So it's going to be okay. My prediction is going to be a Gravity Barrier filled dungeon, because Pearl is going to be probably the OP for that dungeon, because of course Dante was the OP for that dungeon when Kyoto Genji was there. So I'm expecting Pearl will be the OP of that as well. And so it's going to be a lot of Gravity Barriers. The Ascended form for Pearl is Gravity Barrier, Strike Shot Reducer, Laser Stop, and Status Recovery. So 4 support, well, 1 null and 3 support or utility abilities. So most likely it's going to be a Gravity Barrier filled dungeon, and hopefully it will work well with Udi and Arthur, but we will see if there's a lot of laser barriers or gravity laser barriers and stuff like that. But for people who people would know, people already know that I already transformed to Heaven Transcension if you've seen my cat video. So I didn't really have to repeat myself. I hate repeating myself. If you know if you know me, I really hate repeating myself. So a lot of people ask me the same questions, and most of the time I just ignore it. Sorry for annoying people, but like, you know, like stuff is there, like the information's there, so you know, you can search out relatively easy on StrikeShot or other places, or even in the forums. And then another thing is Memento Mori. So the third war god is finally here. Like, it's a very fast pace for these impossible or colossal dungeons. Like, some people really like it, some people don't, because, you know, new dungeons, and some people might not even have gotten Nirvana yet. I know some of my friends haven't gotten Nirvana yet. Nirvana wasn't that bad, so while Nirvana was awkward, not hard, it was awkward. Once you get used to it, and then once you know the actual mechanics of that dungeon, then it shouldn't be that bad. But like, hopefully Memento Mori is going to be not that crazy quirky, but like, the dungeon will be a little bit special because they basically say there's going to be mines, and from the description it said that some of the monsters will be dealt more damage, so you will deal more damage to certain enemies if you use swept mines. So you know that mines, when you have a minesweeper, it deals more damage with your normal attacks. So I guess that multiplier actually increases when you do that to certain enemies. I'm not sure which enemies, but you know, so something to keep track of. So probably it's going to screw over in terms of ability, screw over like the Royces and the God Strikers of the world. So you want to bring Minesweepers. Are they gonna make it really good for Nightingale? For the evolve for Nightingale? I'm not sure. I hope they don't, because I don't want to revert back. I don't really want to revert back to evolve Nightingale, but I might, just for the dungeon. But fire Minesweeper monsters, there's not a lot of OP ones. Like, sure, there's Zhangfei, there's Ruby, there, and I think, and Shumpool, but they're not like really top tier monsters. So you're probably gonna have to look for like the Robin Hoods or the Nightingales of the world to actually deal damage and to sweep up mines. Oh, I guess I totally forgot about Ogden X. I totally forgot about the Ogden X. Lately, I've been really forgetful, most likely because I was on a Monster Strike break. Because this week, I hardly played any Monster Strike. Not because I hate the game and stuff like that, but I basically did everything. So I basically finished farming candies the week before, and I finished farming the Dream Shell Hatcher for that for JP, the new series with Hikaru Genji and Lady Rokujo and the Giga Fighter the week before as well. So it's so I was on basically a week break and didn't do anything for the most part, except for doing like the Monster of the Week, the Challenge Thursday dungeon and stuff like that. So basically I forgot a lot of stuff. I forgot like Mondays it's 26-4, not 24-4. So that was a little bit embarrassing. And thank you for Cybell for the positioning. Do lots of damage. Not that much damage. Next is Cybell. There we go. Not gonna do a lot though. Well, 1.2 is not that bad. But yeah, I had a nice break and I did play other games for a while. For the most part, you know, you do get burnt out for playing a game if you're really into the game. So you might need to break. You might need a break. Like, I know like people play this game for like at least 2 hours a day, and that might seem not a lot, but if you do it on a daily basis, and if you do more than 2 hours per day, like, you know, when a new series comes, there's like, especially in NA, because when a new series comes, both come out on the same day, and both are 3 hours. And some people who max luck monsters will play 3 hours, play both dungeons back to back, and that's 6 hours, and that's a lot of time. And people can get burnt out. Like for me, I listen to music, I watch movies and stuff like that while I farm. So it's kind of like half stressful and half entertaining, I guess, at the same time. So that's how I keep up with not getting my mind blown. Unlike May 2016, I will never forget about May 2016 because that was the month where I max luck 25 monsters. So I basically max luck a monster every single day, and usually max lucking a monster takes about 6 hours. So basically I played 6 hours of Monster Strike on average every single day, on top of all the other stuff that I had to do. So it was crazy. that was a month I will never forget because I was so damn tired, and so damn tired while I'm like during like school and stuff like that. I was like, holy crap, go back, farm this dungeon for another 3 hours, because that was the time when I think EVA collaboration was up, I think, but it was mainly the limited dungeons. It was the limited dungeons. No, EVA wasn't up. It was Ultraman that was up. So I had to farm Ultraman, had to farm limited dungeons. I probably forgot the other stuff, but it was basically the limited dungeons. So I farmed like Noel's, I farmed Sakuya. Who else I farmed? I farmed Kokuo, which I didn't max luck. Holy crap, that was the only max luck I didn't do. Hopefully it comes back in the near future, but I highly doubt it. But I was 2 away. And I basically slept for the final 30 minutes of that dungeon because I was so damn tired. Holy crap. This might be my last run. Maybe not. This might be. There's 9 minutes left for the dungeon, and it might take 9 minutes to actually beat the dungeon. But May 2016, I'll never forget. I will never forget. I think that was like, you can say the most stressful month of Monster Strike I ever had in my life. Like, of course people argue like, why are you putting so much stress on yourself, because it is just a game and stuff like that. But I think of this more as a hobby. Like, there's a difference, because like, you don't do all hobbies for for relaxation, I guess. You do some hobbies because it's fun to accomplish something, and that's my stance on Monster Strike. Is I play Monster Strike to be just to reach goals, and basically I put stress on myself so that I can actually do something in the game that's really cool. So for instance, it's like max lucking monsters, playing with different parties, playing with different monsters, and like, of course, doing guides for you guys because that's my hobby. And that's why I put stress on myself and work and put effort, instead of just playing the game for relaxation purposes, just to actually have some satisfaction in actually doing something good in the game, or something good that help you guys out. But of course, some people might do this just for relaxation, and some people don't like it because, you know, the veterans, there are the veterans who just do it because, you know, kind of like me, but I doubt it's more like, I doubt they probably do it for relaxation as well, unlike me. But like, there's the casuals that actually just like play one dungeon a day and then be done with it for the day. And of course, like, not everybody can max luck, especially in that pace, and that's why the veterans kind of hate the casuals in that sense, just because the casuals can't keep up, and you know, that's why, and they slowed down a bit. But now it's back up. Now they are ramping up on the stuff, so that's really cool. and hopefully we will get some stuff in JP as well, because recently Taiwan have recently like kind of put the same stuff together with JP, so they got Nightingale along with JP, and they're getting the Halloween skins along with JP as well. And this month they basically release most of the new Transcensions, besides like the really new ones like the Udis and the Teeny Mundus. I wonder how far back, but they got to like Aladdin, Sada, Roma, like those types. So I guess they still have like Eclipse and Nanami to go. I think that's their next set, I think. But they're also getting the reskins. Ouch, that's a lot of damage. I do have heart, so it's okay, but so I guess hopefully they're trying to test to see if Taiwan is successful in this strategy, and if it actually works out in Taiwan, then maybe, I say maybe, I'm not like 100% confirming this, but like maybe we'll get something cool in JP as well. Like even if it's just like a new Impossible series, you might just like go with the new Impossible series as well if they start a new Impossible series, because, or Colossal series, because they already finished one round of elements in Colossals. Of course, we haven't gotten a Colossal yet, so you know that might be a little bit iffy, but like the seasonal events, like even if it's like next year January, they'll have like a Zodiac monster. So what I call the Chinese Zodiac monsters is like Aries and Yoshimune. They might have one of those dungeons for NA at the same time as JP. So I would think that would be cool, as long as it's actually a good, if it's a really good thing for players. So I guess they're testing it with Taiwan because they're more ahead. And of course, if the more ahead people are more inclined to the new stuff, then hopefully the people that are not ahead will be more inclined for the new stuff as well, along with like all the other stuff that's going on, like for the catch up as well, because of course NA still has to catch up, Taiwan still has to catch up as well. There's still a couple, they're like relatively behind in terms of content as well. And 2 more turns. I can Pine SS to finish off. I probably don't need it. Yeah, I don't need it. So maybe. And I say this with like sub 10% chance of it happening. Sub 10% chance of happening. And Taiwan also has a new exclusive, but the new exclusive is like a limited monster. It's not like a Legends or Guardians exclusive. It's like those like elemental stuff, elemental monsters. It's very strong though. It is super strong, but you know, it's hard to get. And let's see, he is ability locked as well, so GG Shidu. But at least I got the mine off, so it's okay. Oh, the ability lock. Oh, the ability lock. But NA, hopefully they'll have something cool for the anniversary. Like, I know Cybell is gonna take a lot of time for players because she is a hard dungeon, and although she is 24/7, drop rates are going to be relatively crappy. I'm going to say this, it's going to be relatively crappy. Even when I was farming in JP, there are runs where I didn't get a drop even through extra stages. Of course, there's local chests in NA now for Cybell when she clear off the extreme, which some people might use it, but so for the people who can't do local co-op, there's going to be runs where you're just not going to get a drop, and just don't rage quit. It's all worth it. I think Cybell's a little bit better than Reaper Jack. But of course, is it worth the difficulty of the dungeon over the just a small improvement? Then it's your call. I'll do it anyways because, you know, that's me. But for people who are debating if they should do it, why farm Cybell even though I have Reaper Jack is because of the limited ability. It's not because the monster is like super good. Well, she is super good, but of course you can replace her with Reaper Jack and he will work just as well for the most part. But it's just more for the limited ability, and just like people with Rotbone, some people thought Rotbone was not worth it because he was just a sprite slayer and then no nulls and stuff like that. But people then found out that he was really good in like farming purposes, and then they started regretting. So just so that I don't regret, I'm gonna farm Cybell. Of course, like, you know, I'll probably not regret it anyways. And next is Shidu. Probably not gonna get speed clear, which is gonna be sad. And that is a really bad spot for the strike shot, but whatever. Come on, hit that weak spot. Not bad. Ouch, that hurt a bit. Let's strike shot as well and hit Mr. Cybell. So that's why I'm gonna farm Cybell. It's not because she's crazy good, just that I will have no regrets later on in the future, unlike people that didn't farm Rockbone because it wasn't worth it. And probably people who didn't farm Eternity are kicking their butts because she's really good for Kushinada Zero. Of course, she's not like OP carry you in Kushinada Zero type of monster, but she's a very good max luck, more than probably the best max luck in the game for that dungeon right now for NA. And one drop, crappy drop rates. I only had one run with like over 3 drops, so that's pretty bad. But let's see the total. But for people who are wondering about Pumpkina, Dash is basically a speed up, a self speed up. So if you miss the gauge, then she'll be in her original speed, which is really low. Let's see, Pumpkina, and I'm just gonna show you the number. I'm not gonna fuse it. 27. Holy crap! 27. Oh my god. So I'm gonna need like 3 sessions. I did skip a little bit in the beginning. I skipped like 30 minutes in the beginning, so there's that. But like 27, holy crap! That's 2.5 hours. So, ook. Well, of course I did have really bad drop rates. There was a couple of 1-drop runs. So, but still, it's gonna be tough. But she is a very good monster for Yamato Takeru Zero. I think she's probably made for that dungeon, and probably for future ones if they want to bring back the speed bombs. Because she has really low speed, but you can speed her up as like a normal balance monster, so she's really good that way. But that's pretty much it for me. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.